I'm Charles Strong III of Strong Counseling Solutions LLC. We offer on-site counseling in Gretna, Louisiana, and board-approved online counseling throughout the state of Louisiana. For PLPCs seeking to become licensed, we offer supervision. And for mental health rehabs, we offer services of assessment, psychotherapy, and consulting. Terri Apter, PhD, spoke on the pain paradox in Psychology Today in a recent article, and that explored why individuals, specifically youth and adolescents, engage in self-harm, citing that up to 30% of teens alone have hurt themselves intentionally. Dr. Apter voiced that self-harm can take various forms, including substance use and abuse, but for a diagnosis to be reached, it's only reached when in the last year the individual has on 5 or more days engaged in intentional self-inflicted damage to the surface of his or her body for purposes not socially sanctioned. Now, parents will often be upset at the revelation that their child is hurting themselves because one of our main goals is to protect those children. And psychologists, in turn, have expressed concern that self-harm is linked to anxiety in adulthood later down the line and higher risk of suicide. Now, Dr. Apter says that this typical age of onset is just under 14 years, 3 years before teens are likely to ruminate over suicide. And this window, developmentally, is characterized by intense feelings within a person of social anxiety, feelings of intimacy towards others, enhanced self-awareness, and other elements that just in general churn beneath the surface at this time in life. Dr. Apter points to brain imaging studies substantiating the multiplication of neural cells up to the early 20s, where the brain is said to operate with adult efficiency. And between the ages of 11 and 24, the brain struggles to appropriately file away social information, as often seen in teenagers overthinking of social interactions to the point that they become bigger, scarier, and just more negative than they objectively are. Pair this with difficulty in emotional regulation at this time, and you may be able to see why some individuals may use self-harm to try to control a deluge of negative feelings. Social anxiety is historically a big trigger for self-harm, specifically when young people feel condemned or criticized. Exaggerated feelings of scrutiny may lead them to feel the world is picking them apart for every mistake, leading to feelings of inadequacy, isolation, and self-loathing. Neuroscientist Christian Schmahl at the Central Institute of Mental Health in Mannheim, Germany, presented research findings suggesting that the brains of self-harming teens reacted differently to pain and the sight of their own blood. Where a general response to pain and observation of one's injuries may result in negative feelings, for those who self-harm, the amygdala's activation is reduced. Now, the amygdala, when activated, warns of threat. This suppressed alert, in turn, gives the individual feelings of relief. Dr. Apter also discussed experiments where individuals had to keep their hands in ice water, and the results of the duration of time of the hands immersed and the accompanying saliva samples suggested that self-harming teens have higher pain thresholds and lower cortisol, which is a stress hormone. Reduced levels of cortisol and endorphins, which is a feel-good hormone, contribute to young people self-harming as a means of increasing that cortisol level and suppressing negative feelings in turn. Dr. Apter states that this suggests that self-harming teens need more stress in their lives, but from positive sources like working out or problem-solving tasks. The mechanics of the brain, our thoughts, and our feelings are all connected. Dr. Apter says that any neurobiological quirk might be the result or simply the counterpart of the behavior, thought, or emotion it seeks to explain. Just as self-loathing or belief that one deserves punishment could produce a context in which pain and injury produce relief. Pain then becomes associated with relief, and the association affects the brain's circuitry. And there is, however, some very good news. When the teens cease to self-harm, either as a result of therapy or maturity, their neurobiology returns to normal. Their responses to pain are no longer blunted, and the sight of their own blood loses its calming effect. Social anxiety no longer triggers a compulsion to self-harm. The brain function that underpins teens' self-harm need not define their future. That's our talk for today. Hope you learned something or found something interesting. You can find more videos like these on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or Twitter. We'll be back next week with a new video. So until then, thanks and be well.